Okay, now as we're here on the Paris Morgan show, and the discussion is the tribute, the reparation that was supposed to be paid. And I just want my brothers and sisters to hear what the second man, the second man to the left hand side, right there in the middle, and then the sister, what they both have to say. Fair use, fair use.
Because nobody is alive who has actually suffered the hurt, and nobody is alive who did the wrong. And I'd make one other point, if I may. It's always the countries that people want to come to who are put through this struggle session. Britain, like America and France, are the most desired worldwide and have been.
Okay, let me stop. Let me insert. The only reason why America was able to amass so much different wealth is because of the slave trade, and then the actual ability to take a group of people, a race of people, and put them in chattel slavery. Jehoshaphat, what do you mean? There's no history on the face of this earth that shows people being raised from a baby in slavery until they day that they die. And then when any children that they have, they're also slaves at birth, given the right to be a slave, 3/5 of a human being, and then turn around when they die. Then whoever that they have a child, they have babies with, they make children, they procreate, and their children and their children and their children for 10 generations. It could be even longer than that. That has not been done in human history. Nowhere, no time period. Okay, now here's the kicker. Now, not only do you enslave a person, you take every single thing from them: their culture, their customs, their tradition, their religion, their history, their speech. Every single thing was taken. That has never been done upon the face of the earth. And you don't think that it's a reckoning that has to be paid because of said events? You don't think so, huh? Okay, go ahead.
For centuries. Why is that? It's not because we're racist, it's because we're better. It's because we're good. It's because when we see racism, we actually call it out and recognize it as a sin. Try finding that across Africa. Try finding that across the Middle East or in China. Nobody would hear.
Okay, let me insert again. Okay, not only do you strip away a person's humanity through their history, their customs, their culture, their traditions, you don't allow them to even speak. Hold on. You just strip a person of all their heritage. That hasn't been done. Anytime you can consider a person, and then y'all gotta imagine modern day slavery to them is just people who's working for pennies to the dime. That's what they mean. When they talk about modern day slavery, they're not talking about a race of people conquering another race of people. They're talking about low wages. That's what they're talking about, being exploitation of a worker. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about chattel slavery, redlining, Jim Crow, convict leasing, vagrancy laws. They're not talking about none of that. You know what I'm saying? What has been done to the black man and the black woman here in America has never been done before. And he wants to talk about the wounds that white people get just hearing over our history, but we're reliving it each and every day.
What we have is a situation where the more virtuous countries are presented as the worst countries. It's sick, and most of us are tired of it.
Thank you, Douglas.
I am so sorry that Douglas is bored.
They're not even really going to let the sister speak. It's a damn shame that the only way that the countries can actually be healed from this injustice that's been done to black people is for the atonement, for the retribution, the tribute, reparations to be healed from that historic event. There's no point in our history to where any of these countries came together and it was like, well, we did this and this happened to the black folk and this happened to the black folks, so we gonna do this and we gonna do that and we gonna try to lift up the black people out of the poverty. No, there's never been any government anything, you know what I'm saying? Anything in the government, any programs in the government, any government restrictions, nothing. So if you do nothing, how would you expect for a good outcome? That's like going to school and never doing none of your work. That's like you driving down the street and you see that your gas tank is low. You pull up to the gas station, but for some reason you don't put no damn gas in the damn car. Where the hell is you going? But as far as in the sister on the commentary, they really won't give her a chance to speak like that.
By the pain that has come from
That's not what he said.
through slavery.
He didn't say. He didn't say that. See, but what you're doing there, yeah, but hang on, Paula. Paula, you're being very disingenuous. That's not what he said.
I am.
The viewers aren't stupid. They know exactly what he said. He's not saying he's bored by the pain. He's saying, and I think it's a perfectly valid point, the pain that people who are alive today are claiming they're suffering for what happened to us for 100 years, it's not a real pain. They're not the ones who suffer.
Okay, hold on, Morgan. I hate how they get, and I understand that this is Britain or England. It's not America. But your brother Israel, I do not like how they get on a panel and it be all them different men and they just put up one sister. Where's the equality in that? Where's the justice in that? There's none, family. There's none at all. They sitting up over here and they've been ganging up on this woman for like 30 to 40 minutes and to compromise. Where's the okay, usually when you have a conflict of any source, you will want to compromise. Both parties should have something to where some compromise. Black folk, we don't have nothing to compromise with, so we ain't compromising on nothing, you know what I'm saying? But far as in the other party, now where does the compromise come in? Okay, we understand, we understand that happened and that was bad. You can't say on one hand that it was bad, but on the other hand have all the resources to fix or do something to improve or change.
What was going on 200-300 years ago?
So in terms of justice for all, I mean, I think we'd all agree that...
Well, I'm not suffering from when the Normans invaded this country.
Agree.
I'm not suffering from what my ancestors went through.
I noticed that I've not been allowed to respond.
Or from the Romans. In other words, where do you take this? I mean, should I now be feeling pain from what the Romans did to this country?
In terms of slavery, I can take it to 2015, when the slave owners were compensated by the government. So I can take it to that extent.
Where does your personal pain
And I can say to you that I don't think that apologising is a bad thing. I think that apologising for a wrong is a good thing. I think that the Dutch royal family have done a fantastic thing in acknowledging what has gone wrong.
Okay, I hear you. But I honestly think it'll make no difference at all.
Strike three. Now, what we have here is the Glad TV show, right? But we got Michael J. White on the show, and I want you to hear what he has to say about reparations. Okay, that's a given. But then I also want you to hear what his I can't even say that it's a remedy. I will call it a payout, and I will go ahead and speak on it on behalf. It'll never happen. I understand here in America that with the population that we have, we are a country inside of a country. I always heard Louis Farrakhan always say that we're a country inside of a country. But when you talk about 40 acres and a mule, if we were given land, just the land, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, family, I don't know if you had a time or a chance to go around the United States of America, but I have driven the whole United States of America by myself, you know what I'm saying? And in America, there's all these national parks that are closed down, that are hundreds of millions of acres, just land. You drive through a state and it's probably like 200 different acres of what is it called? A national park. So you got all this land here in America. So it's possible. There's still, to this day, we're not talking about the Homestead Act of 1902, or it could have been it had to be the turn of the century. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about now. The only reason why I say that it couldn't work is because you would have to have a military on the outside of the black cities to keep white people from coming in them. If you look at it on the standpoint like this is a reservation or this is a private land, that the private land that the public of America couldn't be able to go into and go out of. Now, that's saying that you have a land that white people cannot enter. That's going to cause conflict. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cause what he said. Everything that he said is right. I can't disagree with. I agree with it. You know what I'm saying? I agree with every single thing that he said. But the only reason why they won't let it happen because it'll be land here that we own that they themselves could never have any access to. Can't give us no rules. You can't tell us what kind of buildings we can build. We don't have to worry about your regulations. Look at this, family. If you can have an outside person in the country like Gaddafi, and he can sit up there and try to give black people $1 billion to further the cause here in America, how would America do that? They would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they got so much black anti-hatred towards black people. To ever want to see black people succeed or even have none. I figure like this. When your ancestors got out of slavery, they should have let us have the textile industry. What do you mean, Jehosa? Anything done with cotton, anything done with clothes. If you want some clothes, you got to come to us. If you want any type of garments or any clothes, family, I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? That alone, that industry alone would have changed all of us. You know what I'm saying? As far as in our finances, if we had a patent on clothes, when your people came out of slavery, they were supposed to give them something. If they would have gave them the Institute of textile industries or wool or clothes, do you know how differently? Or how about anytime your people built a city and a town, they just left them alone? They just left them alone, family. They just let them develop the damn city or the state or the town and left it alone. Okay, we're going to hear our brother speak, and I want you to listen. I want you to listen, but I also want your comments, your feedback. What do you say about this, brother and sister? And the outside people, they're free to comment. I don't care, but I want to hear what the people have to say about it.
Which is right by Manhattan Beach, that basically was owned by a black family. And basically black people would come from all over California to go and hang out at this beach. And then, essentially the city started passing all these really horrible laws saying, people, you can't walk through here. So people would have to park like a half mile away and walk, blah, blah, blah. And eventually they passed more and more laws, and basically all the land was basically stolen from this family. Now they're talking about giving it back. This is worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
There's far more cases of giant communities of black people that they've flooded and are now bodies of water. There's something like 13, at least 13 of these major communities that were taken over. That's endless. There's so many of these things. These when we start talking about land, and that I think we still have in abundance.
Pay attention. When we start talking about land, when we start talking about 40 acres in a mule. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible.
Why is that not? I mean, I don't understand. Well, why can that not be on the table?
Well, I mean, when it comes to reparations, with me, like about a year or so ago, I had, I put some statements out there that a lot of people were upset about. I basically said I'm all for reparations. I said possible. We're talking about building.
The government, how much land the government has?
A lot. So you're basically talking about just taking some government land and saying, here you go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can sell that land if you want to, or develop it.
Right.
You can develop your communities, your schools, everything that was taken away from you. That to me makes the most sense. This government has a great deal of land that is just not being used.
Okay, fair enough.